See, and I actually really appreciate how honest you were in this book, because there was a lot of things you could have left out or had written it in a way where it's just wins and here's all the things that went right and I made every right decision, everything was good.
It's not life.
but you're honest in there, and it's, there's a lot of humility. There's a part where this was certainly something I think you could have left out. Book would have been just fine, and it was, I think, your experience when you wanted to be like a naval reservist and going through buds, right? If you could speak to that.
Yeah, so I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and those dudes are hardcore and all that. But what I didn't take into consideration is not everybody's Charlie Sheen on the movie Navy SEALs. So when I got to buds, I was physically prepared, but I wasn't mentally prepared. And so as we're going through Hell Week, all of a sudden I'm getting stressed to limits that I've never been stressed to before, because that's what buds is designed to do. You either choose me or we, and they want the people that choose we, because it's a team. And in combat, you need your team. You need the guy to the left and right, not the me. I was going through my own little injuries at the time, and they told me, hey, look, you're going to get rolled back. And I said, I'm not rolling back. I'm done. And so I gave up on myself. Yeah, you quit on yourself right there. Joe Rogan said it best. He said that we are so stuck on our past failures that we can't understand how they built us up for our future successes. And it took me forever to understand that failure at Buds, because I was so disgusted with what happened there, that when I went through Special Forces training, I never was going to go back to that disgusting part of my life again. And so it actually paved the way for me to become a Green Beret.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, both extremely tough programs. But if I never had that moment in my life where I was like, God, dude, why did you do that? Then I would never have been able to grow from that. Yeah. It still bothers me. It does. Yeah. But if everyone who went to Buzz was a Navy SEAL, then it wouldn't be the Navy SEALs. Yeah. Because those dudes, they're hard. They're hard. So
and it's interesting how much the mental game plays out here, because as you said, you were physically ready. And from what I've read, a lot of guys show up and they're like amazing physical specimens, right? Like they train for this. They think they're going to do amazing. And then you see guys that come in and may not be as physically gifted, but mentally are so much tougher. And it's like at the end of Hell Week, it's like the ones left standing are typically, if not exclusively, the ones with the mental toughness.
Yep. It's probably exclusively, because Hell Week is meant to, regardless of what phenomenal athlete you were, because in my class, there were some studs, Division I wrestlers. You were probably the epitome as a Division I college wrestler, just in my opinion. And yeah, they just, once it came to the mental part of it, once they got out of that part that they had no longer, because for me, what it was is I controlled everything up until I got to a point to when you're so tired, you're so cold, you're so beat down, you're so chafed, you just ran through the mud to where you no longer have control. And that's when it goes from the me to we part. Now you gotta, if I could have adopted my mindset to my boat crew, now it's a we instead of a me, then, and if I could have made it one evolution at a time, or just make it to that next meal instead of looking at 5 straight days of this, then it would have been different. But my mind was really weak. And so instead of going back to day 1, phase 1, I was like, no, I'm not going back. And that was it. Yeah. So, yeah, but Hell Week, it's all mental. It's all mental. I don't care what you've done in your past as a stud. You will not go through Hell Week on physical attributes. It's impossible. About Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday morning, I don't care how physically fit you are, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, now it's we.
What's that feeling like when you tap out, right? I imagine at some point there's like a brief feeling of relief, right? And then was it instant regret right after that?
I never got the relief. It was all regret. The minute that I made that decision, I regretted it instantly. There was no relief. And I regretted it for years and years and years. And people have talked to me, they're like, why, dude? It's a training program. Who cares? it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with whether it was buds or it was wrestling or special forces or what it was. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the decision that I made at that point in my life. So you could have been anywhere in any situation in your life. And the decision that I made, to quit on myself was, again, that's what bothered me. It wasn't the fact that it was at Buds or if it was here or there. Buds just happened to be the place I was at because it's one of the hardest training pipelines in the military, So
what do you think differentiates people, like when they're making a decision, to quit something? Like what do you think, at what point is it a good decision saying, hey, you can quit, no regrets, versus they're about to quit on something that they might regret for the rest of their life?
So I honestly believe that you're always going to have regrets if you quit. Now, when people go through a course, like with Special Forces, they'll make it all the way through the selection process. So 21 days. Selection is basically a hell week, but it's a long duration. But at the very end, they've made it through all this and they're still standing at the end and they're told, hey, look, you're not what we're looking for. Or you go 2.5 years through training, you get the Robin Sage, you finish Robin Sage for the instructors to tell you, hey, look, thank you for trying out. You're not what we're looking for. And that's 2.5 years of your life gone. And so, but the difference I think between quitting on yourself and not making the cut is this. If you gave it everything you possibly had, and that's what I learned from Buds. If I give it every single thing I have, leave it all out there, I have nothing left to give. If I don't make the cut, then I know that I gave it all I had and I will hold my head high. I will not quit on myself like I did at Buds. And so I learned that lesson, from Buds, which set me up for success in selection and then further on in the Q course, because selection's not the hardest part of the Q course. Oh no, it's not. But it set me up for success further on because I knew, hey, look, if I don't make this, if I gave it everything that I have mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, if I leave it all out there, then there are no regrets. And if everybody who is just left standing in the end is going to get a Green Beret, then it's not special. Right. There has to be that point like, hey man, look, thank you for trying, but you're just not what we're looking for. You didn't make the cut. There has to be that point or else it's not special. And so that's one thing. And then quitting, that means that you could have done more. You could have kept going, but you decided that you were done. And so I think there's always going to be some sort of, it may not be regret, but questions about stopping before you're actually done or giving it everything you have and you just don't make the cut.